Peace and love, family. I'm Brother Frank, and this is U.S. Political Prisoners and You, brought to you by the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition and EPPC. Today, we're talking about the March for Mumia, a very important march that is occurring now. It's actually on day 6. I participated on day 1 to represent the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition. I think it was very important, very inspiring, especially because we're still mourning the transition of our beloved political prisoner, Imam Jamil Amin, a brother who was down for a long time in terms of fighting for our self-determination. He should not have died in prison. It's just a reflection on our collective work. I know me, I had to look at myself and ask myself, uh, am I doing enough? Did I do enough when I knew that he had 10 months to live? Did I make as many people aware about his situation? Did I try to contact enough people to, you know, bring about a favorable outcome, which would have been him coming home to be amongst his family, his comrades, and being taken care of, appreciated, letting him know that he was not forgotten, that we did as much as we could to fight for him. But those are ideas that will continue to circulate in my head as well as the collective. There was a meeting, emergency political prisoner meeting. Some great ideas got spoke about and it got shared. And I think that's important to come out of those situations more committed, more convinced that you have the responsibility, or rather, we have the responsibility to not let our political prisoners die in prison. So the March for Mumia is very important. It's powerful. It's covering over 100 miles. That's significant. It's important because what it does is propaganda. It's presenting the idea to masses of people, to our common people, and letting them know that there are political prisoners. There's a prisoner by the name of Mumia Abu Jamal who's completely innocent, who's been in prison for more than 40 years, and he needs our help. He needs our support. We have to take a position when it comes to him being in prison that he does not deserve to be there, that he is not a criminal, he is not a terrorist. He, in fact, is a captured freedom fighter. And we know that his work continues. He continues to write some important books to inspire us, to raise our consciousness. So we have the duty to get involved, to stand up as a collective, to say that, Mumia Abu Jamal is one of our freedom fighters, and we are determined to bring him home. Let's do what is necessary. But prior to us starting to march, there was a rally, and great words were spoke. We poured libation in our African tradition. I thought that that was important, that was powerful, and let us know that this is our tradition of resistance, our tradition of fighting for our self determination, our right to uh, exist in our own terms, our right to control our own destiny, right? Mumia's destiny is in our hand. And that's why this march is going to raise awareness to a community. Um, the march is from, excuse me, it's from Philadelphia to Prattville, Pennsylvania. I'm going to get more into those details, but while I was at the march, I seen a number of people that I haven't seen in a while, and it was good. It was inspiring because I know those people felt the way I felt, that we just lost a political prisoner, and now with Mumia fighting a number of ailments, we have to step up. We have to do what is necessary. I know there was a petition that went out. I made sure I signed it and I sent it out because I want those who are viewing to always like, always share, but understand that this is just a platform to engage in the war of ideas, to put those ideas out
Oh,
there.
I know.
What's going on, brother Jimmy?
That's
Can y'all hear me?
I know.
Everybody say free
Yeah,
Mumia! Free Mumia!
Free Mumia!
We're getting ready
yeah.
to step off. I don't know how much time you got, comrade, and I don't want
I'm hearing you
to take
now,
you
brother.
too long. Can y'all hear me? Let me
Yes,
step
loud
right
and
to
clear. Can you hear me?
Right, we hear you good. We hear you good. Right. We have just wrapped up our press conference to mark the halfway uh, point of this epic long march for Mumia, 103 miles over 12 days. We're at the halfway mark. We got folks participating in this thing from all over the country. Mumia has an incredible doctor. Gotta say that, man. I'm so proud of Dr. Ricardo Alvarez. First time meeting him in person. A radical doctor. And we got radical doctors in our tradition. Don't we? Didn't we have Dr. Matulu Shakur? We got radical doctors in our tradition, but we don't have many of them. But Mumia is fortunate to really have a good brother rooted in in the spiritual traditions of our warrior ancestors doing this work. And so we got the ingredients to free Mumia one of these days, sooner than later. Let me just say several things very quickly. Today is December 3rd, the anniversary of Malcolm's epic debate in Oxford, and tomorrow is the anniversary of Fred and Mark Clark's assassination. Both of them represent the best in our radical tradition. And they came after Mumia like they came after so many of our political prisoners because they represent the best in our radical tradition. So we have to be at our best, train up, because they can't get all of us. And do what we got to do to get this comrade free and to get all of our other comrades free. We were not going to have another Imam Jamil El Amin on our watch. We can't allow that. We got to turn it all the way up and make sure that absolutely does not happen again. I can't tell you how angry I am. I haven't even been able to put into words in a proper way for his family and the organization, just how angry I am and how we lost Imam Jamil. We got to get Kamal Siddiqui out. They dragging their feet on his release. We got to get him out. We got to build that campaign up and build up that support. And just like they say Asada's name, they need to be saying Kamal's name. Free Kamal Siddiqui. So we're working. We're ready. We're on the move, and that's where we at this particular moment.
All right. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate all of that. I wanted the people to know that there are people out there taking a very strong position when it comes to Mumia. And, they need to know that, we all got to do our part. We all got some work to do. I know that there was a petition. I signed it and I shared it. I think that was important. There's still some more days. So people got to find ways to support it. There's a number of
March4Mumia.org. March4Mumia.org. And when y'all see people who y'all know doing this stuff on social media, blast all that stuff out. Blast it out like you got a goddamn machine gun. Blast that shit out.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely, brother. Thank you for your time, brother.
Right on. We appreciate you, beloved. Keep pushing. Right on to the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition. Right?
Yeah.
We appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all. Long live Sekou Udinga. We appreciate y'all, beloved. We appreciate y'all, all right? Y'all stay strong. All power to the people.
All power to the people. Yes, we appreciate that live coverage. Yes. That definitely was inspiring. And it allowed me to understand that there's some work being done. And our people are very serious about that work being done. And I just want to go into the history of marches and how important and powerful and potential marches have. So I was looking through my encyclopedia. Well, this is the Africana Encyclopedia, very elaborate book on our history, and it speaks about March on Washington, 1961, a protest planned by A. Philip Randolph was canceled. The march was canceled after President Franklin D. Roosevelt established the Fair Employment Practices Committee to eliminate discrimination in World War II, defense industry hiring. And just let you know the power that marches have, that it could absolutely influence laws. It could influence these elected officials. Just imagine what we could do with this march as it relates to Mumia. We have to share the information. There's QR codes and let you know how you can support. Go to march4mumia.org. 1963, March on Washington, 1963, a massive public demonstration that articulated the goals of the civil rights movement. The 1963 March on Washington attracted an estimated 250,000 people for a peaceful demonstration to promote civil rights and economic equality for African Americans. Participants walked down Constitution and Independence Avenues. Then 100 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, gathered before the Lincoln Monument for speeches, songs, and prayer, televised live to an audience of millions. The march provided dramatic movements, most memorably the Reverend Martin Luther King's Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech. So we're looking at that, and we looking at the fact that these marches, these demonstrations of solidarity, right? It was solidarity over because people decided that they're going to be somewhere, they're going to carry out a particular, they're going to do what is necessary. Let their people know that there's something that we need to do. We need to be very serious as it relates to what's going on to us. We need to be very serious as it relates to our political prisoners. If we want them to come home, if we don't want them to die in prison, it is our responsibility to do that, to make sure that we step up, to make sure that we accept our role and the challenges that come with fighting for our political prisoners. It's up to us to make that happen. And that's why, excuse me for the technical difficulties at this moment. I had a phone call, and that phone call interrupted the fluidity of this program. So deepest apologies. Please bear with me. But as I continue, so the March on Washington, it brought awareness about what was going on to people of African descent. It allowed people to understand that they were not alone. If you have over 250,000 people coming together, that's a very important number. That's very important as it relates to the situation at hand. You go to the Million Man March. The Million Man March in 1995, a rally organized by Nation of Islam, Minister Louis Farrakhan, and Benjamin Chavez to draw attention to the social conditions of African Americans and to urge Black men to assume control over their lives. So the estimate was more than 1 million of our brothers who went there. It was expression of solidarity in terms of what was going on in our community. And, they said it was a significant turnaround in terms of the violence in our community after the Million Man March. So it just lets you know that marches do transform people. It allowed people to consciousness to be raised. So this march on Mumia is very important. It's very significant because it puts us in position to actually raise more awareness about our political prisoners, to let our people know that our political prisoners have support. They have people who are willing to march, who are going to various communities, letting people know Mumia's name, letting people know that Mumia is innocent, that he needs to come home. And like Zaid said, that, this situation, this tragedy that just occurred with Imam Jamil Amin deeply disturbed us. It deeply disturbed him. And let us know that, we got to do better. We got to do more. We can't let our political prisoners be forgotten. We can't let them die in prison. We got to step up. In 1997, you had a Million Women March, grassroots organized Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, march of more than 1 million African American women seeking to build coalitions within the Black community. So we're seeing that this was an act of women coming together to raise awareness about what's going on and to show solidarity amongst each other, to let each other know that they're not alone, that there is a support system. Anytime you're going through something, there's nothing like a support system. There's nothing like that system that is there to remind you of your value, to remind you that, you don't need to feel down. You don't need to feel broken. You are not forgotten. You are needed. And we're here to remind you of who you are and what you belong to. And that's what's going on with the March for Mumia. Mumia is reminded that he has support. Mumia is reminded that he must continue to fight, that there are people willing to fight for him. Now, I just want to go back to the timeline on Selma, because this march was about 50 miles. So timeline of marches, the Selma and the Montgomery marches were a series of significant events in the civil rights movement, leading to the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. I think that's a very key important point to say that it led to the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Because when we make historical references, we want to take those historical moments and we want to bring them to the present time. And we want to say, how can we learn from that? How can we utilize that to get what we want? So we got to be invigorated to take this idea and bring it to the issue with Mumia and other political prisoners. For Mumia Abu Jamal, just imagine that major victory that we get when we bring them home. Now we're making a claim to the entire United States that they are political prisoners and they are not ignored, they're not forgotten, and they are people who are willing to put their bodies on the line, to invest time in advocating for their freedom, because that's what it takes, right? It's preparation to get to a particular area. I know that me and some other comrades, we caught the 4:50 a.m. track. From there, we came together and we paid for Uber. The Uber got us to our place, and that's when the rally began. That was the first day. So just to let you know that the time, the preparation, the commitment, but it's all love, right? You say that we love our political prisoners. We say we love our fellow revolutionaries. We say we love freedom, right? But what are we doing about it? What actions are we putting behind that? And that's why I share that with you, to let you know that, coming on the podcast or putting together a podcast is just only one part of the work. You actually have to be amongst the people. You have to build relationships in communities around political prisoners and letting them know that, I'm the representation, or I'm the voice of one of several political prisoners. I'm here to do what is necessary to raise awareness of them, to make sure that they're not forgotten, to make sure that, the problems and the situations that we're currently fighting are not new problems. These are attacks on our right to self-determination. And I'm willing to do what is necessary to make sure that our self-determination rights is protected. So that's to let people know the importance of my presence and the importance of us identifying and connecting that to our political prisoners, so that the idea of the political prisoner is always in people's consciousness. So timeline of marches: the Selma to Montgomery marches were a series of significant events in the civil rights movement leading to the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Here's a timeline of key events leading up to and during the marches. 1962 to 1963, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee began staging protests in Selma. October 7th, 1963, Freedom Day protests at the Dallas County Courthouse, where about 350 blacks lined up to register to vote. July 9th, 1964, Judge James Hare issues an injunction forbidding gatherings to discuss civil rights or voter registration in Selma. December 28th, 1964, Martin Luther King Jr. presents the SCLC Plan for Mass Action and Voter Registration Attempts to Selma. January 2nd, 1965, King begins his Selma campaign with about 700 African Americans at Brown Chapel. January 18th, 1965, Black civil rights advocates meet at Brown Chapel, leading to a march to the courthouse to register despite the junction. March 7th, 1965, the first Selma of Montgomery March begins, led by SNCC Chairman John Lewis and Reverend Hosea Williams. March 9th, 1965, the second march becomes a demonstration known as Turnaround Tuesday. March 21st, 1965, the third march departs from Brown Chapel AME Church, leading to further violence and protests. These events highlight the ongoing struggle for civil rights and the determination of African Americans to fight for the rights and the end of racial discrimination in the United States. So it's an ongoing process. The marches is ways to raise people consciousness, to transform people, to have more people involved. Now it's documented, it's history. So now when people decide what are they going to do about a particular situation, now they go into the history books and look at different times and who did what and why and what was the result. And that's why this March for Mumia is very important, because it's our history of resistance. It's one of the tactics that we took when we had to raise people's awareness about what was going on. In this particular case, a political prisoner by the name of Mumia Abu Jamal. And we're concerned because he's running out of legal options in terms of winning his freedom, right? But we making the case that, he shouldn't have been there this long. And we're making the case that we're taxpayers and it is our right to tell the system that this is what we want done. But it's a collective effort, right? We got to win more people to this claim, this idea. I know Colin Kaepernick, he supported Mumia. Lamar Hill, he supports Mumia. I know at one point Danny Glover, he support Mumia. Well, we got to get more people supporting Mumia. I know that there were a number of hip hop artists that support Mumia. You had KRS One Channel Live. They had a song around Mumia. You have Frau Munch. He was on a song that addressed Mumia. But we have to continue to let them know that they have the power to win more minds over to Mumia, because we live in a world where there's a mountain of distractions, as my field marshal would say, Coltrane Shimmeringer. There's a mountain of distractions. They got the algorithm, so you're looking at one thing, and now a number of other things are coming to claim your attention. But our attention needs to be focused on those who are standing for us, those who are putting their lives on the line to fight for our right to self-determination. People like Mumia Abu-Jamal, people like Kamal Siddiqui, and so many others. Imam Jamil Amin, he did so much for us. And, it bothers me to continue to think about him dying in prison. That's why we have to be more fiery when it comes to Mumia. We have to be more consistent when it comes to Mumia. We have to do what is necessary to support Mumia coming home and not dying in prison. So this is the flyer. I don't know if you have it or seen it, but you can get a copy of it at marchformumia.org. There's also an email. The email is marchformumia@gmail.com. The phone number is 862-240-6589. There's also a QR code. The QR code you can scan. It says participate in the march. That's one QR code. Another QR code, while we march. Another code, volunteer to support the march. That's another QR code. If I didn't give you enough time to get that information, please feel free to contact me and I could give you more of the information. One of the things that I want to make sure that I do before I leave is provide the information for our political prisoners so we can write to them. I got to do that tomorrow. If I don't get it to do it today, is write to a number of political prisoners. That was an assignment that was given to us as an organization. So I got to take that up upon myself so that I'm not guilty of telling you to do something that I'm not doing. But these are some of the contact information on our political prisoners. Letter means much. I was on that emergency political prisoner call, and a former political prisoner said that when he received the postcard, it made him feel good. It made him realize that he was not forgotten. So imagine what this march is doing for Mumia. It's letting him know that after all these years and all these efforts to bring him home, that people have not given up on him. That they realize that his fate lies in their ability to organize and organize well. And I think that that's what we have to relate to one another. That you being here, you participating in this march, obviously all of us have different situations, so we all can't participate at the same capacity, but yet and still, if we find a way to support the march, that is part of that collective effort. All soldiers ain't going to be on the ground. Some soldiers are going to be somewhere else, given a specific assignment. And it's that collective effort. We all need to be respected equally for what we're able to give. So please like, please share, please subscribe. Please let everybody know about the petition that's going on. And if you missed the petition, please contact me at my phone number so I could give you the petition, so I could share with you. And we could continue to have dialogue on the march and how we can support it, how we can do what is necessary to bring Mumia home. So let me go through the details of the march. The march it started on November 28th and it ends December 9th. It's from Philadelphia to Frankville, Pennsylvania. Day one was from Uncle Bobby's Cafe and Books, 545 Germantown Avenue, Philadelphia. Miles Park, 303 Germantown Pike, Lafayette Hill. That's where the march was going to. So day two, that was on Saturday, November 29th, from Miles Park, 303 Germantown Pike, Lafayette Hill, to Macaton High School, Eagleville. Day 3, that's Sunday, November 3rd. That was from Manhattan High School, West Germantown Pike, 1001 Freebell Mill Road, Eagleville, to Limerick Township Building, Limerick. Day 4, Monday, December 1st, that's from Limerick Township Building, 346 West Ridge Pike, Limerick, to Wawa, Douglasville. Day 5, Tuesday, December 2nd, from Wawa, 10 Maplewood Drive, Douglasville, to Duncan Reading, Reading. Day 6, Wednesday, December 3rd, from Duncan, 2458 Perkiomen Avenue, Reading, to Crossroads Family Restaurant, Reading. Day 7, Thursday, December 4th, from Crossroads Family Restaurant, 4643 Pottsville Pike, Route 61, Reading, to Perry Restaurant, Shoemakersville. Day 8, December 5th, from Perry Restaurant, 11 Bellevue Avenue, Shoemakerville, to Russo Pizza Den, Benjamin Franklin Highway. Day 9, Saturday, December 6th, from Russo's Pizza Den, 1353 Century Turnpike, Orwigsburg, to Muhammad Ali's Deer Lake Training Camp. Day 10, Sunday, December 7th, from Muhammad Ali's Deer Lake Training Camp, 58 Sculpts Hill Road, Orwigsburg, to Schuylkill County Courthouse, Pottsville. Day 11th, Monday, December 8th, from Schuylkill County Courthouse, 401 North 2nd Street, Pottsville, corner of Laurel Boulevard and North 2nd Second Street side, to Burma Road and Moria Road, Frackville. And the last day is day 12, Tuesday, December 9th, from Burma Road and Moria Road, Burma Road and Moria Road, Frackville, to SCI Manoy Corrections Facility, 301 Moria Road, Frackville, Pennsylvania. So it's very detailed to let you know what's happening, where they're going to be, at what particular time. If you need additional information, let me know. And on the front, it says urgent. Mumia Abu Jamal is in imminent danger of permanent blindness. He requires urgent surgery and treatment for diabetic retinopathy. Every day of delay increases the risk of irreversible damage. We cannot allow the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections to slow walk Mumia into blindness. Join the march to demand justice for our elders and an end to medical neglect. Justice for all political prisoners, free them all now. Justice for Mumia Abu Jamal, bring them home now. So that is the call. We must accept our role. We must do what is necessary to make sure that Mumia is not the next political prisoner that died in prison. We must take a very strong position when it comes to this particular act. So marchformumia.org. Please share the information, share this particular episode. Let's come together and let's do what is necessary to bring our beloved political prisoner home. You know, we got some serious work to do, and I appreciate those who are tuned in right now. Let's stand together, solidarity. Please share with as many people as possible. If you need my information, I provided it right here. If you need some additional information, or you want to know how you can support, maybe it's make a donation, maybe it's conduct something in your own community. I always tell people, utilize community centers. They are to serve the interests of the community. One of the community interests should be recognizing our political prisoners, those who have been on the front line, those who sacrifice so much, and those who, because of their sacrifice, are currently in prison. We need not ignore them. We can't let them die in prison. There's always some work that we can do. So do your part. Support the March for Mumia. Go to marchformumia.org. Share that with as many people as possible. If you're a person of faith, share that at your house of worship. Make sure those who are responsible for putting together those particular schedules regarding your time that you meet, that they address our political prisoners, that they address Mumia Abu Jamal. All right, y'all. Peace and love. Y'all know the call, free them all. Don't let political prisoners die in prison.